Hey everybody, things set up. Smoothly. The computer's running a little slow. Okay. So you might hear you get to a place where you've been impaired in some way. Hey Dion, thanks for checking in. Okay, let's scroll down here a little bit. Let me know if you're having any problems with the video. One of the benefits is that it can help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And you will hear depression and anxiety often used together because they often are manifested together, but they are two separate categories. And I shared a little bit about that last time, that anxiety is not necessarily a diagnosis, it's a category. And there are diagnoses that fall underneath the category of anxiety. Same thing for depression. Depression is a category, and underneath that fall different diagnoses for that category, severities of some sort, and it could include major and or chronic. So major depression is a diagnosis, which is when someone experiences depression most of the time for most days, for 2 weeks or longer. Okay. Persistent depressive disorder is when depression lasts for 2 years or longer. Bipolar, which also has different segments, is bipolar 1 and bipolar 2, is identified by mood episodes where you have extreme highs and lows. So you may see yourself or individuals where you may have some ups and downs, but you want to look at the severity of it, how much does it interfere with your life, and are they extreme? It's an extreme high and low that you typically will see when it comes to bipolar. And then you've got seasonal affective disorder, which is when there's major depression during the winter months. You might feel more depressed during the winter months of the year due to the shorter days and less sunlight. And so you may have heard of mood lights, where it's just a lamp that kind of helps provide artificial sunlight that's helpful for individuals who do struggle with seasonal affective disorder. You've got postpartum, where major depression is seen in the weeks and months after childbirth. You've got premenstrual dysphoric disorder, PMDD for short, and this happens at the start of a woman's menstrual cycle, but it's something that happens all of the time. And then you've got situational, which isn't necessarily a diagnosis, but you may hear that from time to time from your doctor or someone that you may be talking to that's aware of the different diagnoses for depression. That situational is not a mental illness. It's more so in that middle range of maybe mental health has been affected a little bit because of a stressful event in life. You'll usually see this as it relates to like death, divorce, loss of a job, things like that. So that's a situational. So typically what happens with situational depression is that when that situation has been resolved, when you've kind of dealt with the grieving process, you've kind of gotten to a better place, you should no longer see those signs of depression. But if they continue, then that's when a professional like myself or a doctor tends to start considering some of the other or some of the mental illnesses that I mentioned a few minutes ago. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. Like I said, it's my Minority Mental Health Awareness Month, and so I really want to make sure that people in my community, people of color, have more awareness when it comes to what mental health is, what mental illness is, and how to take better care of yourself. Because when we don't take care of our mental health, it can possibly lead to a mental illness. But you could You could have poor mental health and have no mental illness, or you could have good mental health in a way and have poor mental illness. So the question for today, the reflection question, if this is a problem, I will upload the video from my other phone and repost it. So I apologize. But the question for today is to kind of help you kind of think about your life and assess to see, is depression maybe something I'm dealing with, whether it's situational or whether it's maybe more so something I might need to consider it being a mental illness. So the question today is, what area of your life are you most unhappy with? It could be friendships, career, relationships, romantic relationships, financial, etc. So I want you to take a moment and think about, what area of your life are you most unhappy with? It could be any of those areas, or it could be a completely different area. Just ask yourself, what am I most unhappy with when it comes to my life? And then the second question is, how can you start making changes to improve in that area? And so paying attention to how you respond to that second question is going to be really important. So mine, typically it's usually a little bit about my body. I tend to be unhappy with, I'm usually very tired because I do a lot, and of course my weight, little roles that I have. And so, my answer to the question, how can you start making changes to improve this area, is eating healthier. I'm doing a 30-day health challenge right now with Coach Josh, JMG Elite. So I took some action in that, trying to exercise more, and I'm trying to work on my sleep as well, because that's really important. So you may have easy answers to that, and you may be well on your way. But you want to pay attention to excuses maybe coming in your mind, or if you can get them on paper, you see them on paper, like there's an excuse as to why I can't improve in this area. If you notice any procrastination, like I know I've been needing to do this, but I've just been procrastinating on it. Maybe some fears, but definitely pay attention to if there's any sense of helplessness or hopelessness, which can be a sign that there may be some issues with depression going on for you. When you're feeling helpless and hopeless in your situation, and as if you can't change it at all, that there's absolutely nothing that you can do, then you want to start, really asking yourself, is this maybe more of an issue than I realized? And so what you can do is you can elicit the support and help of a friend. You can, share with them, I got this question today and I answered it, and this is what I really am unhappy with in my life. And when I got to the question of how can I start making changes to improve in that area, I really didn't feel like I could. Do you think that there's a way in which I could? And when you find that your friends or your family members, whoever you share that with, is like, well, yeah, absolutely. You definitely have the ability to change X, Y, and Z, right? And then take a moment and just sit back and really think about that. Think about, do you have automatic excuses that come up? Well, no, I can't do that because of this. No, I can't do that because of this. Again, notice that hopelessness and helplessness, where you might feel as though there are so many people or things that are in the way of that. And that's when you want to reevaluate your sense of control. What do I have control in? So if I go back to anxiety tends to have some element of this need to have control because of things being so out of control. And so you see that, but with depression, you tend to see the issue of, hey, thanks for joining in. You tend to see this issue of, I have no control at all. So anxiety, you tend to see the urge to control things. Like, I don't have control here, so I'm going to control things here. I've got control in these areas. And they may be accurate or maybe not. But with depression, it's a complete I have no control typically, which is, again, that hopelessness, helplessness, which is not always the case. It rarely ever is the case. So there are some situations that are pretty severe, and that person needs a little bit of support to help get them to the next stage. But you have to ask yourself, am I not seeing this clearly? Right? The only thing that you can control is yourself. is your reactions, is your thoughts, is your behaviors, is your decisions. You have control over those things. And there's some people that try to take that control from you, but it's not theirs. It doesn't belong to them. It's yours and solely yours. So again, I want you to reflect on those questions. For those people that just chimed in, the questions for today, we're dealing with depression. You can go back and listen, and I shared about different types of depression, mental health versus mental illness. And the questions for today is, what area of your life are you most unhappy with? Friends, career, relationships. You start making changes to improve in those areas. And I asked you guys to notice any excuses, procrastination, fears, a sense of hopelessness or helplessness that might come up with that second question as you try to answer it. Kind of think about what's getting in the way of me improving in this area, and how can I start tackling that? So those are your questions for this week. I hope you guys got something from this video. Hopefully you can see it. If you can't, Facebook, I will upload the video from Instagram. Please let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, I see I'm having issues here. Let me know if you have any questions. And you can email me at info@fellowred.com. And if you have any ideas of things that you want me to think about over the next coming week,